All right. All right. So we'll get started. Thank you guys for joining us. We have two new faces. It's nice when we have repeat customers, so to speak. Kathy joins us on a regular basis from Bethlehem Food Co-op. But Lisa has not yet joined us. She's from Rooted Carrot Co-op in Cedar Falls, Iowa. And then Judy, we're happy to have you here from Westchester. So that's wonderful. What I do in these sessions really is share some information with you on a specific topic. Our topic this month is gift ownerships. And then it's a chance for us to collaborate, share ideas, cooperate, really. It's a chance for me to practice Principle 6, which is co-ops helping co-ops. People have been so generous with me and helped me learn so much along the way that this is my chance to share a little bit of what I've learned. So I'm going to share my screen and a few slides with you. Okay, can you see my slides?
Yes.
All right, thank you. We are talking today about gift ownership. And in the co-op world for us, what that means is usually it means a co-op owner purchasing an ownership for someone they care about, a family member or a friend. And it's an easy way for current owners to share their love of the co-op with the people that they care about. And coming into the holidays, we get the opportunity to remind our owners that this option exists. And before we go too much further, do either of you, any of you, offer gift ownerships at your co-op? And Kathy's here with us, but she won't be speaking, so she may put something in the chat. But okay. Lisa or Judy, do you guys do gift ownerships at your co-op?
We do. And we have had people randomly do it throughout the year. Mm-hmm. Last year, I wanted to do something at Christmas time, but we didn't have the resources to do the campaign. So this year we have a marketing group that hopefully when we're done today, I can feed them the information right away and then they can start figuring out the messaging.
Nice.
Yeah. we do a messaging thing every November and moving into Christmas, encouraging that as an option. Awesome. So we've done that in the past.
Great. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to go through today. We're going to go through some best practices in terms of gift ownership related to your internal process, your packaging, and your promotion of gift ownerships. We tend to think about the holidays as our slow time in the co-op world. People get distracted and busy. They have other things going on, and we often consider this to be downtime for us. But this chart here is data taken out of Co-op, which is my sister company that Rooted Carrot is using Co-op. And this data basically is 6 co-ops that have recently completed capital campaigns or have begun capital campaigns. So the fact that these co-ops are raising funds may skew this data. We won't know until we have more data in the system. But right now, what the data is telling us is that December is actually our 3rd largest month for owner growth. June being number 1, April being number 2, and December being number 3. So really and truly, it is a good time to grow owners, and our owners are really looking for this opportunity at this time of year. So documenting your internal process really is an important piece of the puzzle. And Lisa and Judy, I'm guessing since you guys offer this option already, this is pretty well in place for you. But I would recommend that the process be charted out and documented. So even if you know what the process is, you know what steps need to be taken, it's a good idea to have that in writing so that the next person who takes over this work, could simply pick it up and be able to recreate the wheel. But the things that you need to ask yourself really and ask your co-op are how owners actually make this purchase. Is it online? Is it a paper form? If it's online, do we have to tweak our ownership application in any way? If it's a paper form, we probably need a gift recipient name and an owner name, and want to make sure that the paperwork reflects our process. Is this something that an owner can buy at a tabling event? If they show up and you're at the farmer's market, can they purchase a gift ownership? Do you have those supplies with you? Do you have that process down and can help them complete that purchase? Sometimes signature requirements are a bit of a hurdle. Some co-ops require the owner to sign their application, a legal signature. And so if someone buys an ownership for someone else, you want to think through, how does that signature happen? Are we okay with an online or an electronic signature? How does that play out? We also want to think about the amount of information that a gift recipient needs. So when we recruit an owner, we know statistically that owner has been touched 7 times by the co-op, likely at least 7 times, 7, 9 times. They've gotten an email, they've seen us at the farmer's market, they saw a flyer, their friend told them about it, whatever those steps were, they have come along and purchased an ownership. They have bought in theoretically and physically. When a gift recipient receives their gift ownership, this might be the first time they're hearing about the co-op. So we have to think about moving them through that adaption process so that they're as committed and theoretically bought in as the owner who purchased the gift itself. So there may be some supplemental materials that a gift recipient should receive. Maybe they need a different brochure, or they need subsequent follow-up emails welcoming them and inviting them to an event, or kind of conditioning them so that they're as involved and committed to the co-op as the individual who gave it. And then we also want to think about what the gift looks like. And we're going to talk about packaging in a little bit, but is it an email? Is it a hard copy thing that they get? And how does that thing look? And let's see here. I'm just looking at my notes to make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this screen and I'm going to share a screen of a co-op who's doing this well, I think. Prairie Food Co-op. So you can see on my screen now, Prairie Food Co-op's website, correct? Okay, when I click on become an owner, you can see the option of a gift ownership immediately pops up. So when I click on that, it's a whole different process than if I were to just click become an owner. When I click continue, they're collecting my billing information. I'm buying the ownership shares and my address, phone number, contact information. And then they're collecting the data on who's receiving the gift. So very direct and straightforward. And then they also offer delivery options. Are you going to pick this up at a co-op event or an office? Are you going to have us mail it to you and you give it to the individual, or would you like us to mail it to the individual? So Prairie Food Co-op's doing a really nice job with this process here, and I thought it was a good example to share. So let's go back to our slides here. All right, let's talk a little bit about packaging, and somehow I'm going to stop this for a minute because I can't find you guys. There you are. Okay, now I can see you. Okay, there we go. That's better. Okay, so you want to create some special packaging. You want this to look like something a co-op owner is going to be proud to give to their friends and family. You want to keep your co-op's brand guidelines and your marketing guidelines, if you have those, which I strongly recommend that you do, into consideration when you're creating this. It should match your colors. It should use the same fonts. It should look like the rest of the marketing materials that you provide to owners and to the public. And you want to keep it in line with your values. Using recycled material or minimal packaging, keeping it simple and streamlined, really speaks to the credibility and the authenticity of the gift ownership when it matches the co-op's values. And when you create something special like this, co-op owners are going to want to give it to their friends and family. Now in this image, you'll see that there's a star, like a snowflake tag. So this would be appropriate for a holiday gift. But you can consider creating different tags, so one could have a sprout on it, or a flower, or a cornucopia, or you could make them seasonal so that the owner then can select the tag or the packaging that works best for them. And it's important that you're talking about gift ownerships all year long. You guys both, Lisa and Judy, both mentioned that you talk about this, or you'd like to talk about this more at the holidays with your owners. Lisa mentioned a November campaign, and Judy, you were talking about Christmas holiday. But really, gift ownerships are practical gift all year long. This is a great wedding gift or a graduation gift, even a birthday gift, a Valentine's Day gift. We can be talking about gift ownerships way more frequently than we do. And they really are a great way for co-op owners to continue to support the co-op and continue to share the co-op with the people in their lives. And I'll mention to you that when you're doing any kind of ownership promotion, if you're trying to grow 30 owners in 30 days, current owners often feel like, oh, I wish there was something I could do. I mean, I could tell my friends and I can help spread the word, but if I could buy another share, that would be an easy way for me to help. And buying a gift ownership really is a great way for them to do that and to participate. You want to, as I mentioned, we want to be talking about this all year round. So at least quarterly, I think in your newsletter or your social media, you should be mentioning the fact that gift ownerships exist. And you really should invest in some great photos. And by invest, I don't mean necessarily spend money, but if you've got a volunteer who's really good at photos, or you've got a really good camera, someone on your team who can really get a great images of this, of the packaging really can help you sell, so to speak, the ownership as a gift. And having those good photos on hand when you're going to do those promotions is really important. You can also, a great idea, in my opinion, is to ask owners who are giving the gift to take a picture of the recipient receiving the gift. So when they're sitting under the Christmas tree, or they're at the birthday party, or they're unwrapping gifts at the bridal shower, that you're taking the picture of that person and then sharing that picture with the co-op. Because when we post and talk about real people doing real things, we know that those are the posts and the newsletter articles that get the most attention. And as I talked about before, when we're doing any kind of owner growth push, so 20 owners in 20 days or 15 owners by the 15th, offering the option for owners to buy the gift ownership at that time really is an important piece of that puzzle. Making sure they know that's how they can help participate in this promotion, even though they all are already an owner. And then having those supplies to complete a gift ownership available with you at every tabling event. So when I was doing tabling events, I had a small box of supplies that went to every event. And in that box was the packaging, was the envelope, the gift card, the ownership cards I could fill out right there on the spot if somebody wanted to purchase a gift ownership. And having that easily available for owners makes it simple for them to make that purchase when they see you at the farmer's market or the health fair. So we've talked about the fact, Lisa, that you guys have done ownerships, gift ownerships in November, and Judy, you want to, but do you want to share a little more detail about how that's worked, Lisa, for you guys, or what you found helpful, or what you've learned in terms of what not to do?
I really don't have a lot to add. I've just been part of that committee for about a year, and so I haven't experienced it enough times to really know how effective it was. I know I bought one for each of our two daughters, but I don't know about the general sense that others had of the campaign or how successful it was. I wasn't really that involved at the time.
So for you personally, it was effective. You were inspired to purchase the ownerships and give them as gifts.
Right. I was on the board, and I wanted to support the co-op some more. So it was
Yeah.
a good way to gift something to my children and do that at the same time. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Judy, you want to share any more about what you guys are thinking or what you've done in the past, maybe?
Well, we haven't really done anything in the past. I mean, it's happened where people were like, hey, I'd like to give a gift. And it was just a random, it wasn't because of anything they saw. It was just something they were like, hey, can we
I want to do this. Yeah.
Exactly. So last year I wanted to do this big campaign, because we had the temporary store open and I'm like, this is perfect. But we didn't have the marketing resources to really, I guess, do it the correct way, which is what you're laying out now.
Yeah.
But now that we have a full marketing group, it's like, once I can get them this information, we can work on the stuff on the sidelines, but they can at least work on the messaging on the website and social media. And we are going to be starting, once the store closes, we are going to be starting getting back to a newsletter.
Okay.
Because that was something we used to do too. But then, like I said, we didn't have the resources on marketing. And unfortunately, Gina, that was on the board doing the marketing, her job changed and it just literally took her off the board, and there went all the marketing.
Sure.
We're recouping, and we've got a great team. And I told them it was coming, and that I would gather the information and get it to them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we've really invested a lot of thought in the packaging idea. I think I'm trying to remember what my daughters received. I think they received kind of the standard welcome email. I don't know that we have a special one for gift memberships. So that's something I'll be looking into because I think they got the standard, and then, we have an app for our co-op. So they got the link to download the app to their phone. So they know who all of our community partners are and stuff. So those kind of things happened, and they of course got put on the email list to receive the newsletter and get information about all of the events that we host. But other than that, that's a thought though, that the welcome email maybe needs to be a different level of information for most people. I mean, they were my kids and they heard me talk about it a lot. Sure. They're my adult children, I should say, but so they knew some things, but yeah, what kinds of things they need to know in order to be more engaged. Because I do think even when we think about, capital campaigns and who are our gifters and things, they're actually noted in our files as gift recipients. And then sometimes it feels like, oh, they probably won't because they didn't choose to buy in, so how do you get that buy-in, I think is a good thing for us to be thinking about and processing, because that I had not really considered that before. So
yeah, and Lisa, as a co-op who has begun the fundraising process, and you have experienced this firsthand as a caller, that situation, I think if we can address that, if we can make onboarding those gift recipients part of our process early on, they become viable prospects for a contribution financially later. Absolutely. Yeah. And the welcome itself, I think there's lots of resources I'd recommend in terms of what that might look like for a new owner, but there's a great video. It's from Stronger Together or NCG, and it's a cartoon video about what a co-op is, what's not to love about a co-op, I think is what it's called. And I'll include a link to that video in my follow-up email to you guys, because it's a super cute video. And I have been doing this work for 10 years. And every time I see the video, I sit and watch it. It's 2 minutes long and I love it. It's just really cute, really simple, really straightforward. And it's a great introduction to what a co-op is. And I think that would be a good thing to include in a welcome email for sure. And if you're talking about hard copy packaging, if there was something physical that an owner opened, these do not have to be things that break the bank. It might just be a special colored envelope with a sticker on it, a gift sticker of some sort. It doesn't have to be anything, very cost effective or labor intensive, really, for that matter. We don't need to be creating more work for ourselves. So tell me what can I answer questions wise about gift ownerships and this process I've outlined?
Mhm.
I don't really have any questions because it was
Sheila, you
pretty
joined
clear.
us. Okay,
I
great.
kind of snuck in.
Awesome.
I kind of snuck in. I was having technical difficulties with the reminder email, and so then I went back to the original email from yesterday, and I was able to bounce back in. And I'm just sitting here, you know, soaking up everything you guys are talking about. What I do when we send out their certificates. I've got them all like a, you know, fancy certificate style, and I included in an email, in a welcome email. I congratulate them for being owner number, you know, in my case, owner number 4 or whatever. And if they are gifted, then I send the email to the recipient saying, hey, I just want to let you know that Katie gifted you, you know, this owner share, and, you know, we invite you to our next tabling event. Come introduce yourself. You know, just all the feels.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's great. So
We
you guys
haven't done anything like physical in person, because no one. At first, I gave people the option, and nobody wanted. Like, yeah, just email it to me. I'll be fine.
Okay.
Probably maybe thinking in terms of printed material or something.
Yeah. And giving it, I think even if it's an email, the recipient or the giver, I'm sorry, could print, you know, if they wanted to physically give something, you know, if you created an email that was print worthy, you know, they could print that off and stick it in a card to give to the recipient as well. So there's lots of ways to do it. But just thinking through what works best for your co-op. So how frequently have you guys used gift ownerships, Sheila?
We have people in the past that have donated. So what I've done is I've counted them in our database as gift number 23. And then when we decide, we as a board, and I'm not on the board, but as a co-op decide we want to give to a family in need or a student or something like that, I'll go ahead and I'll change that from gift number 23 to, you know, whoever the actual recipient is. Katie, we haven't spoken in a long time. We've had, Long Beach has had a rough year. And I'd love to bend your ear about it one of these days. But so currently, I mean, we have the option of just, hey, you can gift one. We don't talk about it or celebrate it as much as what you were just discussing. And I've been sitting here scribbling, you know, feverishly thinking, okay, we need to start talking about it more, because you're right. Why not give it as a graduation gift or as, you know, Mother's Day, whatever, you know, and you know, enter holiday name here or special occasion here. Yeah, so we have not focused a lot on it, and that's why I wanted to jump in today and see what other people are doing and get some ideas so we can really ramp it up.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry I didn't notice you joining us earlier. And I apologize for the link. I've been having issues with Constant Contact as the source of these events, so that where I'm creating these. And Kathy had issues with the registration link too initially. So I'll get that worked out, or they'll get that worked out hopefully. But I do apologize for that. I'm glad you got in.
Yeah, but it was the reminder. It wasn't the original.
Okay.
Yeah,
the original
that
I popped
happened.
Right in.
That happened to me too. When I went to the reminder you sent today, it didn't go to Zoom.
Link.
It was some URL so I had to go back to the event and just click on the, actually in my calendar, the link was right. So.
Okay, good. So it linked in your calendar. That's good. Okay. Okay. So I was thinking of something else I was going to mention, but it escapes me now, but we have plenty of time for questions. So if there are other topics you'd like to talk about, or more questions related to gift ownerships, we can open up the floor. And Kathy did post in the chat. She said that Bethlehem, that's what I was going to mention, that has printed certificates, which they send in snail mail. And then sometimes the giver asks for a packet that they can give their loved ones, which I think is a nice touch.
I guess I have a question about assistant memberships. So
Okay, yeah.
we do get people that click the button assisted, and it gives them a message back that says, when funds are available, we'll reach back out to you. So we do have funds available, but what is the process? Like, how much should they be on the hook for when they are requesting an assisted membership? And with that is like, is it just where they provide a certain amount? Like our membership is 400. So do we say you're on the hook for 100 and then we cover the rest? Do they have to show any documentation? Like what's everybody doing with that?
Yeah, well, this is a great topic. In fact, we could do a coffee with Katie on this topic alone. Judy, that's a great idea. But generally here, my philosophy on this is quite different, I would say, probably than most co-ops practice, which is not good or bad. It just is. I come from a background related to pay what you can restaurants. My sister opened a pay what you can restaurant in Denver, Colorado. That's been going for 12 or 13 years, and they're opening their second location in Toledo, Ohio. I have to give them a plug. Same cafe. It's So All May Eat, and it's donation-based participation. So if you can't pay for your meal, you can volunteer, you can wash the floors. It's organic soup, salad, and pizza. It's a pretty amazing place, pretty amazing community. So I lean towards taking people at their word and letting them decide how they participate. That's my personal preference. So in terms of your process related to this, what I do see co-ops requiring, I would say 25 to 50% of the donation amount or the subscription amount, especially in your case, Kathy, at a $400 buy-in. I think the 25% makes sense. Most co-ops that I have been familiar with or been working with, their ownership is in the 150 to 250 range. So the 50% mark makes sense in those cases where the individual is in for $100 and the co-op covers $100. I also think it's important in those instances, if hardship is a concern for an individual, that you offer the payment plan option. So you can pay that $100, but you can pay that over 10 months or over however many quarters you split that up, or however you work it out. So in terms of documentation, I lean towards not requiring documentation, letting the individual self-select. It's already hard enough to ask for help. But when you have to provide your SNAP benefits and it just kind of reinforces, I'm not where I want to be. I'm less than you. I have to prove to you that I'm less than you now. And so I like to take people at their word, and that works for most co-ops. It does work for most co-ops in the growth stage before our stores open. Once the store opens, now if you're giving a discount and now, that people are using SNAP benefits and those kinds of things, I do see co-ops using more strict documentation requirements. But for the most part, I would say probably 70% of the co-ops that I know that offer some kind of assisted ownership do require some kind of documentation to prove that. A few do not. I lean towards the few that do not. That's just me personally. What are you guys doing, Sheila or Lisa and Kathy, if you want to put anything in the chat in terms of assisted, or I think at Rooted Carrot, you guys call them scholarship ownerships. Yeah. The Bush really played on the stage in the state in 2005.
One thing we just did was went back through our books to see who had been on a payment plan and had just fallen off the radar and not finished paying. And so that's a challenge, because then, we sent out letters, this is how much it remains, and we haven't heard from you in 6 months or a year. And, please let us know if your circumstances have changed. We want to work with you. And we didn't get any feedback from any of those people, whether they moved and their addresses were all bad or they just didn't respond. So then we had to write that off as, we just had to write it off the books. So that's kind of a challenge for those of us who are, I mean, I'm kind of a softie, you know, I would like people to reach out and talk to me and find a way to make it work for them. And so to just kind of get no response at all, it was like, okay, well, they've moved on with their lives. They may have moved out of the area. We don't know what happened, you know? So that was an interesting experience. I was the one who sent the letters and got nothing back.
Interesting. I'm surprised not any response.
Mm.
How many
Yeah.
were there, Lisa? Just out of curiosity.
I think I sent like 8 or 10.
Okay.
And you know, things had fallen through the cracks with transitions with volunteers, and like you said, you know, always have something so the people coming after you know what's going on, and that doesn't always happen.
Right.
So some time had passed for some of the people, and yeah, so it was just interesting to kind of see how that went. But you know, I think sometimes people see you at the farmers market and they get excited and they sign up and they want to do a payment plan because they can't, you know, maybe afford that $200 right up front. And then after a year or so, they kind of, I don't know what happens. But anyway, it was an interesting thing to do. And the fact that none came back, I found wasn't quite what I expected, but.
Yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting. Sheila, how about you guys? What do you guys do in that regard? Or do you do anything?
We don't.
I'm sorry,
We
who-
don't. But I'm going to bring it up.
Okay.
Because I think I never even thought about going down this road. I mean, I'll be honest, where the current location where we are right now, we're in a pretty decent area, but we have right down at the next major, I'm going to say city block, but major suburb block, if you will, Long Beach City College, where there are lots of programs for students who are struggling, and where they've actually have created a space. I mean, I'm gonna bust into tears right now, probably just thinking about it, about these poor, I'm gonna say kids, who are sleeping in their cars. And what they're doing is they're creating a safe space where they can park. And then I think what they're also doing,
wow.
it's insane. And so we're going to start, I think it's going to be like next week or something. We're going to get more and more involved with the people who are heading up those departments and, be this totally collaborate with how we can help and how they can help us. They have a huge culinary program at this school. And so we're going to probably be providing internships and, and of course, jobs and the whole 9 yards. But that's a little bit more in the future. But for right now, in terms of gaining ownership, just pay what you can, or all this kind of stuff. I'm getting goosebumps. Okay.
I have goosebumps, Sheila. I have goosebumps all over. Wow. That's such a cool program. And it seems similar. I'll mention this real quick, that to another co-op, Food Shed Co-op in Lombard, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. They're in the process of constructing their building and opening next year. They are down the street from a community college, and they have partnered with the community college for the community college basically to be their teaching kitchen. So co-op classes take place. So the co-op doesn't have the expense of building the kitchen, and the classes take place I know, right? I'm like, hello, that's genius. I love this. I love the collaboration. And, you can get a contract in place for an agreement for a certain amount of time, a year a preliminary year once the store's open, and then renewable, or, you can make it work. But I thought, gosh, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, I grew up in Naperville, about 20 minutes from Lombard, and I actually, back when Naperville was only 40,000 people, not where it is now. But
said Lombard.
I know the area. Yeah,
okay,
I know the area, and so.
Yeah, cool. So there is a co-op in Lombard, Prairie Food Co-op, but I gave you the name of Food Shed Co-op, which is Woodstock, Illinois, which is just a little further west.
Oh yeah.
My bad. Yeah, I said the wrong thing. Okay. Other thoughts or questions related to assisted ownerships? I'm going to pursue this as a topic because I think there's some best practices around this and some things we could we could get into more detail about, especially when I have time to put my brain in that gear. But I'm happy to keep talking. Yeah, Judy.
So how about companies? So I talked to a friend of mine yesterday, and I used to work with her, and it's a big company, local, and they do a lot of incentive programs for the program managers, the managers, really good incentives. And I said, well, what if you guys switched from a money incentive? And I know cash is king, you know, but I said, what if you guys gave an incentive where you pay half the membership to the co-op or the full co-op? Here's a member to the co-op.
Yep.
So I didn't know, is anybody doing that? And we also have a bunch of obviously local restaurants, and people are like, well, why can't a restaurant own a membership? I said, because you can't have like 100 people under that one equity share.
Right.
So I'm just curious what everybody else is doing with partnering with other either restaurant businesses or just companies or corporations.
Yeah. So what I can answer, just generally speaking, and then I'll let everyone else chime in, Judy, is that how you offer your ownership shares is dictated in your bylaws. So I'm guessing your bylaws state, sometimes it states there's a way to describe a human person. And that's how it's stated, that you have to be a person to own a share. But some bylaws state that it can be an entity that owns a share. And in that case, a business can own shares, and you can have a business directory. In fact, Rooted Carrot on our call has a business directory for some of their owners. But when you have that opportunity, what happens is the entity has the ownership, but the benefits do not translate to their employees. So it's just simply, they get one vote just like every other owner gets. And it's just simply one set of shares, or however your bylaws are structured. So there is a way to do that, but you do need to, when you're doing it, if your bylaws allow it, have an owner of record. So it's fine to have John Smith Deli on there, but we need to know who at John Smith Deli is our contact. Do we send this email to John Smith? Do we send it to his wife? Do we send it to the staff? Whatever. And what address do we send their ballot? Those kinds of things. So that is possible if your bylaws allow it. Ownership shares purchased by a corporation or by an entity. I love this idea. I think it's genius. I was not able to successfully implement anything like that when I was doing this kind of work. We did try. We went to Corn Belt Electric, which is the electric co-op in our community. We went to State Farm Insurance, which is a cooperative mutual company. And we offered these ideas to lots of those kinds of companies, to a hospital, local hospital. None of them bit. None of them took advantage. And I don't know if maybe it was because we didn't have our plans in place and we were kind of just winging it, kind of like we all are. And Kathy's just chiming in the chat that they have organizational memberships at Bethlehem Food Co-op and changed their bylaws to allow that, which I do think is a good idea. You also, when you do that, you want to specify that the board has the right to approve or deny an organizational membership, because you don't want Monsanto probably buying shares of the co-op. You might not, there might be some entities that you wouldn't want associated with the organization, and the board can have the right to approve those. But long story short, I'll stop talking now. Lisa, Sheila, Kathy, if any of you have worked with organizations, entities who have purchased shares for their owners or offered a discount. I like the discount option, like we pay half, you pay half. And Judy's asking the co-op I mentioned, Green Top Grocery is the co-op I worked for as the outreach manager, Bloomington, Illinois. And Kathy is saying something else here. Let me open that up. Primary voter cannot be a primary voter for a household. Yes, very good point, Kathy. So if I become an owner at Westchester Food Co-op, Judy, personally, as Katie Novak, I can buy probably, if your bylaws allow it, or let's just say Bethlehem, because they allow it. I'm going to buy shares at Bethlehem Food Co-op in my name, Katie Novak. And then I could buy shares as an organization as Katie Novak Cooperative Coaching. But I cannot be the primary voter on both. So I'd be the primary voter on my business, And then I'd make my husband the primary voter on my personal. Can't be the same person. Good point, Kathy. Okay, Lisa or Sheila, how about you in terms of this? Any examples or share or ideas?
Go ahead, Lisa.
I think what you were mentioning, Katie, we have a lot of partnerships with businesses, and they don't buy in as member owners. They actually have agreed to provide for our member owners a discount. So that's what the app serves. That's the purpose the app serves right now, is that it's a listing of, it's a directory of all of the businesses that have agreed to provide some sort of benefit to our member owners. So you can call the app up on your phone and look at the maps and say, oh, look, this cafe that's around the corner will give me $5 off a sandwich if I buy a cup of coffee, or, you know, whatever it is, whatever they've agreed to do as a member owner benefit. So we have a pretty significant list of local business partners who are providing that for us right now, which is really nice as a startup because we don't have our store open. So we feel like we're still able to tell people that there's this, you know, there's a lot of reasons to be a member owner, but there's also this little perk that you can, you know, I've paid for my member share with discounts on my favorite coffee shop for the last 2 years, you know, because I go there a lot. So it's, and it drives business to them, we hope, and benefits our local, you know, and it creates some local buying habits for people. And then it also is a perk for our member owners. So it's a win-win.
I love that program, Lisa. And I've seen lots of co-ops do something like this. None as good as Rooted Carrot. That app is pretty cool. So if anyone wants to see it or learn more about it, I'd follow up with Lisa or go. It's on your website. I think you can download it from the website, Lisa, if I remember right.
You can only download it if you have a member owner number.
Okay.
Because it's also your member owner card.
Yep.
So if I call it up on my phone, it has my member number, and I can show the business that I'm not lying. I really am a member owner. So it's also an electronic member owner card,
which is also very cool.
That's awesome. Well, we do something a little similar, not as high tech. Any small businesses that buy in as an owner, we also offer, says, hey, do you also want to be a part of our local up program? And it's so we, in terms of like branding, we spell it local and then capital U, capital P, and it's kind of like our logo, but it's more vibrant. Like our colors are the browns and oranges and yellows, and then this one is just black and orange, like boom, right in your face. And what the businesses describe themselves as a local up business owner. So, you know, just like Lisa was saying, you get $5 if you spend 25, you get 5% off of this or 10% off of that. If you buy a sandwich, you get, you know, a beverage for free. So whatever the businesses, that they can do that's going to work for them. And then, like we just said, it drives business to the small business. It creates awareness for co-op. And that's really all we are right now. And then the businesses, they get a little sticker that they display somewhere near their cash register at their front door. And then we also are pretty heavily involved with Fair Trade Long Beach. They are, they're a fair trade store, and she kind of like sublets to all these different makers, people from, you know, Ecuador, Guatemala, just all over the place. You should see these slippers I have. They're all owners and local up, so they all have their little local up stickers, you know, in their little spaces inside of Fair Trade, and Fair Trade Long Beach. And then we also are starting to work a lot closer with Equal Exchange as well.
Awesome.
And she's an owner. Or I should say that our San Diego rep here from Equal Exchange is an owner.
Gotcha. Okay.
We've also done something just as simple as, you know, if we go down our member owner list, we know who has local farm and is visible at the farmers market or owns a local business, or, you know, some of those individuals who have local businesses. We've been, you know, that was our theme for communications one month. So all of our social media posts were, hey, check out the Yellow Table Farm at the farmer's market this weekend. Member owners, yada, yada, and yada, yada, own Yellow Table Farm. They have these great things. See them at the market, so, and we can't make promises like you will be able to buy their stuff when our store is open, because that's the general manager's job. But, but we try to say, this is like the stuff you might, you might see stuff from them, or, just to try to make that connection between these are local producers who are doing great things. And they also have bought into our co-op. So you should go check them out. Yeah. So we try to use our platform as much as we can to do some of that too.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Along the lines of assisted ownership shares, there are different ways to fund those as well. So at my co-op at Green Top Grocery, we had a partnership with the community foundation in our community. And I know many of you do have those kinds of relationships. If you don't have that relationship, I'd pursue it. Regardless of, it doesn't have to be for this purpose, but you should know them and they should know you and you should have a relationship. But besides that, Cooperative Development Services Fund is a fiscal agent for cooperatives. They're out of Minneapolis. If you don't know them, I can include that. I'm going to write that down in my things to send. I'll include the contact information of someone there if you need a fiscal agent at your co-op. But regardless, at my co-op, we had a fund at this community foundation to support these assisted memberships. And in fact, when someone became an owner, one of the questions was, would you like to donate to help offset someone else's cost? And you could write in the amount you wanted to donate, $5, $10, $200, whatever it is. And so those dollars went into that fund, so that when someone clicked the box, yes, I'd like financial assistance, or I'd like an assisted membership, that's where we pulled those funds from. So it wasn't a cost to the co-op. We did not do it at a discount. They are fully funded ownerships. The funds came from different places. Other thoughts or questions on this topic, or any other for that matter? Oh, and Kathy had something in the chat I was going to mention. Kathy's got all kinds of good stuff here in the chat. Oh, let's see here. I got to get that back. Okay, let's see here. Oh, so they have businesses offer $25 installation for an employee who joined, and 2 did. One ended up with a scholarship. They didn't have the income to afford it. And the other one, their dad finished paying for the ownership shares, which is sweet and kind. And I also put the link to Same Cafe in the chat too, if anyone wants to check out Same Cafe. They're opening their 2nd location in Toledo, Ohio. Philadelphia Area Cooperative Alliance is also a fiscal agent. Oh, fantastic. That's great. That's great. The thing I like about Cooperative Development Services Fund, and I prefer a local connection first. That's my first choice. But the thing I like about Cooperative Development Services Fund is they have very few restrictions related to use of the funds. The reason that the fiscal sponsorship with the Community Foundation at Green Top Grocery worked so well for us is because part of that foundation's mission was to provide access for healthy food, or improve healthy access for food. And this scholarship foundation fell within their guidelines. But we couldn't use those funds for construction or staff or the teaching kitchen or anything like that. They were pretty restricted to what we could use them. And when you have a relationship with the community foundation, you have to use the funds directed to them for the purpose they are chartered to uphold. And that's that's legally they have to spend their funds as they are chartered. And so CDS is chartered to support co-ops. So when you use them as your fiscal agent, you can use it for construction, you can use it for staff, you can use it for stock, those kinds of things that typically aren't viable expenses when you're dealing with a partnered local foundation. But there are pros and cons to both. So definitely pursue both. And I always lean towards local.
I have a question that's totally not what we're speaking about. So the Bethlehem Food Co-op is right now searching for a general manager. and we've had about 12 or 13 applications come in, and no one has co-op experience at all, which, is a shame. But I was wondering, Katie, if you knew of anywhere else that we should be posting our job description. It's on the Culminate job board, but of course, it goes down the list as time goes. I sent an email to neighboring food co-ops up in New England because they say they service the Northeast, and I think Pennsylvania is in the Northeast, but I didn't hear back from them. And we've put on a LinkedIn, whatever that is, page, I guess, and through our own co-op and newsletter, spread it around from our own members. And I don't know, I just wondered if you had any ideas about where else we could throw that out there.
Good questions. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking about National Cooperative Grocers Association, the National Cooperative Business Alliance, start.coop.
Start.coop.
Yeah, it's an organization I've been working with. I did a training session. I took a class through Mondragon University, which is the area in Spain that's really heavily cooperative, and they did a class. Anyways, the class partnered with Start.coop, and they have job postings in their weekly email that goes out. I don't know how you get into that email, but I can get you the contact name.
Okay, that's cool. And what was that business alliance?
National Cooperative Business Alliance.
Okay.
And then National Cooperative Grocers.
Well, I know them, but
and I don't know if they
to them.
Yeah, I don't know if they have any platform to post it. But I'd ask.
I think that's why Culminate started their job board, because I think they took theirs down.
Okay, that could be. And of course, all the other like Indeed and Monster, those kinds of places. I would be posting there.
Yeah. So I did tell Mid-Atlantic Food Co-op Association, the Philadelphia Area Cooperative Alliance. So some of the more local to us.
What about, is there a cooperative development center at a university near you?
No, I didn't do that.
Okay, that might be an option.
All right.
And if I think of others, that's a great question. I will be sure to let you know. Are you guys using anybody to help you with that process, Kathy?
No, that was not something that was in the budget.
Yeah, gotcha. Everyone has to make decisions about that.
Yeah, so we're going to try to do it on our own, and we'll see, and then maybe we will have to hire someone, but anyway.
Yeah,
so thank you.
It's not a bad idea to try it on your own, see how it goes. And I'll send you, when I send the follow-up, I'll send the link to start.coop so you can subscribe to their email and get there.
Terrific.
It's a great organization to follow. They do really cool stuff. They have an incubator for cooperatives. No, not usually grocery cooperatives, but there's all kinds of cool co-op businesses that are cool to follow along and see what they're up to.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Probably have time for one more question. If there's one more dying question out there, burning question.
Actually, this question is for Lisa. Do you have to live in Cedar Rapids to join?
No, actually, the Rooted Carrot Co-op Market is for the whole Cedar Valley. And technically, we're actually Cedar Falls. People confuse that. Cedar Rapids is down the road. We're Cedar Falls, but Waterloo is a neighboring town that we basically run together. You don't know, you cross from one to the other unless you notice the little sign. So the two towns of geographically are merged. And that's why we changed our name. Originally, we were the Cedar Falls Food Co-op. And at one point in the development process, it became apparent that we should not limit ourselves to that. So we're the Rooted Carrot, and that opens us up to be, you know, someday having a store in Waterloo and maybe one in Waverly, and, you know, so we can maybe be serving the whole Cedar Valley without feeling like we're limiting ourselves to Cedar Falls.
Yeah, let me rephrase. Do you have to be in state? Because I'm in California, and I want to join because I want to learn more about what you guys were doing. I think you guys were on last night about what do you do if you lose the site.
Yeah, that was Kate. Yeah.
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 And
no, you don't have to be in state.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I live in Texas, and I'm an owner of Rooted Carrot.
Katie's an owner. Yeah,
I am.
Yeah.
I have family in Iowa. My in-laws live about an hour or so away, and I went to school in Iowa, and Rooted Carrot was a client of mine. So yeah, lots of love for them.
Cool.
Yep. Okay, well, we're at 12:59, my friends. So I think we'll wrap it up here. I appreciate you all. It's been a pleasure to spend an hour with you. All these events are always energizing and exciting for me, and I hope they are helpful for you too.
Definitely.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Katie. It was
you.
good to see you again.
Yes, you guys take care.
Bye.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye.